Hello, future biologists. Welcome to an exciting journey into the world of reproduction. Today, we are diving deep into a truly fascinating topic, regeneration, focusing on the incredible abilities of planaria and starfish. We'll explore this concept across 4 levels: easy, medium, hard, and hardest, building your understanding step by step. Get ready to discover how some animals can regrow entire body parts. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is regeneration, and which amazing creatures show us this superpower? Regeneration is simply the ability of an organism to regrow lost or damaged body parts. Imagine if you could regrow a lost finger. That's regeneration. It's like a natural repair system some animals have. When a part is cut off, special cells in the organism get to work, multiplying and developing into the missing part. This process ensures the animal can recover from injuries or even use this ability for reproduction. It's a truly remarkable natural phenomenon that highlights the incredible adaptability of life. Now, let's meet some stars of regeneration. First, we have planaria, small flatworms that are truly masters of this skill. If you cut a planaria into several pieces, each piece can amazingly grow into a complete, new planaria. This also makes it a form of asexual reproduction. Then, there are starfish, or sea stars. If a starfish loses an arm, it can regrow the lost arm. But here's a cool fact: for that lost arm to grow into a whole new starfish, it needs to have a piece of the central body disc attached to it. So, regeneration can be for repair, or, in some cases, for creating new individuals. Time to test your understanding of the basics. Here are 3 easy questions for you. What is the definition of regeneration? Give 2 examples of animals that show regeneration. And finally, explain how regeneration in planaria can also be considered a form of reproduction. Take a moment to think about these. Good luck! Ready to go deeper? Let's explore the mechanisms behind regeneration and differentiate it from other forms of reproduction. Regeneration is a profound biological process where organisms replace or restore lost or damaged body parts. It's not just about simple regrowth, it involves a sophisticated cellular dance. Certain specialized cells can either dedifferentiate, meaning they revert to a simpler, less specialized state, or they remain undifferentiated, acting like versatile building blocks. These cells then proliferate and redifferentiate, specializing again to form new tissues and organs that perfectly match the missing part. This complex interplay of cellular processes ensures the precise reconstruction of lost structures, making regeneration a cornerstone of survival for many species. Let's delve into our star examples. Planaria, those small flatworms, are legendary for their regenerative power. Cut a planaria into multiple pieces, and each piece, provided it's large enough and contains the right cells, can regenerate into a complete, fully functional organism. This amazing feat involves the formation of a blastema, which is a mass of undifferentiated cells. These cells then multiply and specialize, forming new heads, tails, or middle segments as needed. Starfish, on the other hand, typically regrow lost arms. If an arm is detached, the starfish can reconstruct it from the injury site, forming a regenerative bud that grows and differentiates into a new arm, complete with bones, nerves, and organs. This ensures their survival against predators. It's important to distinguish between regeneration as a repair mechanism and as a form of reproduction. For planaria, regeneration often serves both purposes. If a planaria divides itself into 2, or if it's cut, each piece regenerates into a full organism, effectively reproducing asexually through fragmentation. However, for starfish, regrowing a lost arm is primarily a repair mechanism to recover from injury. But there's a fascinating twist. If a detached starfish arm happens to include a portion of the central body disc, that arm can then regenerate into an entirely new, complete starfish. In this specific scenario, regeneration also acts as a form of reproduction. The key lies in the presence of that vital central disc. Now, let's challenge your understanding with 5 medium-level questions. Define regeneration and explain the role of cell differentiation in this process. Describe the steps of regeneration in planaria. How does starfish arm regeneration differ from its ability to form a new individual? Why is regeneration important for the survival of planaria and starfish? And finally, provide an example of how regeneration can be both a repair mechanism and a reproductive process. Think critically. Are you ready to dig deeper into the science? Let's explore the intricate cellular and molecular details behind regeneration. At its core, regeneration is powered by specialized stem cells. In planaria, these are called neoblasts. They're amazing because they're distributed throughout the worm's body and can become any cell type the planaria needs, from brain cells to skin cells. When an injury occurs, these neoblasts migrate to the wound, multiply rapidly, and form a blastema, which is like a temporary growth zone. This blastema then sculpts itself into the missing body part. It's a highly coordinated process, regulated by complex genetic signals that tell the cells exactly what to become and where to go. Let's compare planaria and starfish regeneration. Planaria are masters of whole-body regeneration. Even a tiny fragment can form a complete worm, primarily using their totipotent neoblasts. This is also a common way they reproduce. Starfish, on the other hand, primarily regenerate lost arms. While they can form a new individual from an arm, it requires a piece of the central body disc. Their regeneration involves a mix of existing differentiated cells and some stem-like cells. Planaria's simpler body plan allows for extreme plasticity, whereas starfish regeneration is more focused on appendage repair, crucial for escaping predators. Both highlight the evolutionary advantage of such abilities. Regeneration isn't just a random event, it's meticulously controlled by signaling pathways, much like how an embryo develops. Pathways like WNT, BMP, and hedgehog act as molecular traffic cops, directing cells where to go and what to become. For instance, the WNT pathway is crucial for establishing the head-to-tail axis in planaria, ensuring the new body parts form in the correct orientation. These pathways are activated by injury, initiating a cascade of gene expression that guides the entire regenerative process, from wound healing to the final formation of a perfectly structured new body part. This connection to developmental biology shows how fundamental these processes are. It's time for some challenging questions. Here are 7 to test your advanced understanding. Discuss the role of neoblasts in planarian regeneration. Compare and contrast the cellular mechanisms of regeneration in planaria and starfish. Explain how signaling pathways contribute to pattern formation during regeneration. Why is the capacity for regeneration more extensive in simpler organisms like planaria than in complex animals? Describe the evolutionary advantages of high regenerative capacity in marine invertebrates like starfish. What are the limits to regeneration, and what initiates the process? Finally, how can regeneration in planaria also be seen as a form of asexual reproduction? All right, future scientists, prepare to dive into the deepest waters of regeneration. We are now entering the hardest level, where we'll uncover the molecular secrets, engineering inspirations, and cutting-edge research behind these biological marvels. Get ready for competitive depth. The incredible regenerative power of planaria and starfish is rooted in complex molecular mechanisms, particularly the precise regulation of gene expression and the activation of developmental signaling pathways. In planaria, after an injury, hundreds of genes are rapidly turned on or off. Many of these genes are surprisingly similar to those that control embryonic development in more complex animals, including humans. For example, pathways like WNT beta-catenin are crucial for determining which end becomes the head and which becomes the tail, while BMP signaling helps establish the back and belly sides. These pathways work together in a finely tuned symphony, guiding the formation of the regenerative blastema and ensuring that the new tissues and organs develop perfectly. The secret sauce for Planaria's regeneration lies in their neoblasts, a unique population of totipotent adult stem cells. These cells make up a significant portion of the worm's body and can literally become any cell type, even germ cells. They're like a universal repair kit, constantly ready to rebuild. In starfish, the picture is a bit more nuanced. Regeneration isn't solely dependent on one type of superstem cell. Instead, it involves a blend. Some existing differentiated cells, like muscle or nerve cells, can de-differentiate or revert to a more basic state, while specialized stem cell populations, such as coelomacytes or radial nerve stem cells, also proliferate. Together, these cells form the blastema, orchestrating the precise reconstruction of lost arms. Understanding this cellular teamwork is key to unlocking regenerative potential. Studying the regenerative abilities of organisms like Planaria and starfish offers incredible engineering insights for regenerative medicine. Imagine if we could understand how they heal wounds without scarring, or how they perfectly rebuild complex organs. These biological systems provide natural blueprints. For instance, learning how Planaria prevents scar tissue formation could revolutionize treatments for severe burns or organ fibrosis in humans. The totipotency of planarian neoblasts inspires research into induced pluripotent stem cells, iPSCs, and how we might direct human stem cells to create specific tissues or even whole organs for transplantation. These simple creatures are teaching us fundamental principles that could one day lead to breakthroughs in human health, guiding us toward engineering biological solutions to complex medical challenges. From an evolutionary standpoint, the high regenerative capacity in Planaria and starfish is a powerful adaptation. Planaria, being soft-bodied and prone to fragmentation, use regeneration not just for repair but also as a primary mode of asexual reproduction, ensuring their survival and population growth in diverse environments. Starfish, slow-moving animals often targeted by predators, frequently lose arms. Their ability to quickly regrow these arms is crucial for their survival, allowing them to continue feeding, moving, and defending themselves. While regeneration is energetically costly, its widespread presence in these species highlights its immense selective advantage in their ecological niches. Understanding these evolutionary pressures helps us appreciate why certain organisms retain such extraordinary abilities. Now for the ultimate test of your knowledge. Here are the first 5 of 10 challenging questions. First, elaborate on the molecular signaling pathways, such as WNT and BMP, and their specific roles in establishing body axis and pattern formation during planarian regeneration. Second, critically compare the concept of totipotency in planarian neoblasts with the cellular contributions to regeneration observed in starfish, highlighting any differences in stem cell plasticity. Third, discuss how the biological engineering principles observed in Planaria and starfish regeneration could inspire or directly contribute to advancements in human regenerative medicine and tissue engineering. Fourth, analyze the evolutionary trade-offs and ecological pressures that might have led to the retention of high regenerative capacity in these specific invertebrate groups. And fifth, explain the phenomenon of positional memory in regenerating organisms like Planaria and its implications for pattern fidelity. Continuing with our final 5 hardest questions. Sixth, describe the experimental methodologies that could be employed to identify novel genes or signaling molecules involved in initiating and regulating blastema formation in Planaria. Seventh, discuss the potential challenges and ethical considerations associated with translating advanced regenerative biology findings from invertebrates to human therapeutic applications. Eighth, differentiate between epimorphic and morpholactic regeneration, providing examples from Planaria and other organisms if applicable. Ninth, explore the concept of scar-free regeneration in these organisms and its significance for understanding fibrosis and wound healing in mammals. And finally, 10th, hypothesize how environmental factors or stressors might influence the efficiency and outcome of regeneration in wild populations of planaria or starfish. Good luck with these complex challenges. And that brings us to the end of our incredible journey through the world of regeneration. From the simple yet astounding abilities of planaria to the complex regrowth in starfish, you've explored how life repairs and renews itself at multiple levels. I hope you found this topic as fascinating as I do. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions. For more engaging and in-depth content like this, visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for regular updates and more exciting educational videos. See you next time.